All right, so we're joined by Mr. Chris Nicholas.
One of the many Chris's on the show today, and one of the ones, Chris number 2.
No, since he's a guest, he'll be Chris number 1.
That's true, Puck, even though he was on earlier. Exactly, exactly.
And you are from the Staple Expo.
Yes, I am also known as Uncle Staple because I'm the founder and lead organizer of Staple, the Independent Media Expo. It's our local indie comics show, games, zines, arts, crafts, all sorts of good fun stuff. 10 years running now will be our 10th anniversary.
That is amazing.
March 1st and 2nd.
So how did the first one get started?
Well, basically, like been self-publishing comics with a friend of mine for about 12 years now, and in our efforts to kind of get that out there, we met more people in the area who were kind of doing the same thing. And like, if you're a self-published comics person or a small press person, one of the only ways to get your work in the hands of the public is to get a table at a convention.
Yeah.
And at that time, 10 years ago, there was only a handful, 5 or 6 conventions in the United States that sort of focused on the indie side of stuff and artist-focused conventions, and they were scattered all over. And you had to travel.
Decided, you know what? I just don't want to get on the road. I want people to come to me.
Well, it's economically prohibitive to do that if you're selling your mini comic you made for $3 or $2 or $3, and you got to pay for a flight and a hotel and a table to travel somewhere to sell it. It's not a good deal. And so I met so many talented people, like right here in Austin. We had enough talent, putting out comics and zines and stuff to do a show right here. So it was like, hey guys, let's clean out the barn and put on a show. And that's what we did, yeah.
So at this point, is it predominantly people from Austin, or do you get a lot of people coming from other parts of the country?
It's still mainly Austin folks, but it's grown so much. We have over 150 exhibitors, and we get people from both coasts coming out.
Nice.
We have some Canadians this year.
I like how you said that with some Canadians. Yeah.
Not our first Canadian. We've had Canadians.
So your first Canadian's the most special Canadian.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go with an indie publishing for your comic rather than go mainstream?
Well, me personally, I'm doing very non-mainstream kind of work. So it's
stuff that even Kindle wouldn't take.
It probably, I haven't shopped it to Kindle, but and I think a lot of people are just producing their own stuff, and I think in comics anyway, in literature, people, when you self-publish literature, people kind of think of it as fanfic, or they have a little disdain for it. But actually, in comics, that's a lot of artists start self-publishing before they get their feet in the door at a big
major
corporate major publisher, or their work gets picked up by a small press house or an Image or a Dark Horse or something like that.
I've noticed these days that a lot more comics are doing actual web comics, and almost everything I read these days is a web comic. Do you also include web comic artists with this, or is it just print or paper artists?
We do. We actually have a web comics panel at the show this year. We have about 7 hours of programming over the 2 days, and one of the panels is a bunch of local web comics artists. One guy from Houston as well, doing a panel we're calling "Making and Marketing Your Web Comics." These are folks who have been doing it for a while, are successful at it, and they're just gonna share their tips and tricks with folks doing web comics. The nice thing about web comics too is because you don't have to print stuff initially, the bar to entry is a little lower.
It's like just writing a creative blog. And it's interesting that you brought up web comics, because you've been doing it for 12 years, and the industry and technology has changed vastly, and must have made these things so much easier than when you first. I imagine years ago, like, we're going to independently print our comic. It seems so daunting at first, but now it's like, hey, you can do print on demand with Kindle and all these other things.
Yeah.
How has it changed for you going through the years from where we're at now technology-wise to where we're at then technology-wise?
For me personally, I'm still doing it kind of old school. So
you go to Kinko's?
Yeah, well, not Kinko's, but because you'll go broke going in there. But I'm me and my friend produced the comic. We printed black and white, and do it on paper. It's just that's kind of our ethos. That's what we like, and so that's the kind of thing we're producing. So yeah, we mainly since it's black and white, you can photocopy it, so that's less expensive, and it's good. Kids, if you're gonna make a zine or a comic, make friends with someone at your local copy
Print
shop.
Yeah, because that's going to obviously save you a lot of money.
Make friends.
Do you have any other actual advice that you would offer to people that are like a little intimidated, but like, kids, you can do this?
That's it. You can do it. I mean, it's the only thing stopping you from doing it is yourself, and you just have to sit down there and do the work, and that's.
So tell us a little bit about the comic that you do.
Well, the one I'm currently working on is called That Damned Cat.
That damn cat I'm already sold. I don't know about you. I'm done.
It's my one sentence pitch. I use it when I'm tabling at conventions. It's a supernatural black comedy inspired by the true story of the cat that knows when you're going to die.
That sounds genuinely interesting.
Well, thank you. I worked really hard on that.
And that also sounds like something that would go to maybe one of those, I can't even name the little offshoot publishers that always do those weird ones like
Imprint
I call
publishers?
imprint publishers. Have you ever thought about maybe going to one of them and saying, look, we have this idea, maybe we can mass market it?
You shop it around there. It's funny, but organizing a convention takes more time than making a comic book.
That makes complete sense.
It's kind of actually kind of
Wrangling
production.
150 artists, not to mention everybody for the panels,
Yeah.
that would be a full-time job.
It is, and our production schedule on the comic book that I made. I started at a convention so I could promote my comic, and now I can't make comics anymore. But such is life. Such is life.
So other than 150 people there, 7 hours of paneling, what's one of your favorite things about Staples? Something that people that are at home going, wow, that's not enough for me. Sell me some more.
Well, just the interaction, we actually had an opportunity to sort of poll attendees there one time, and what they said they enjoyed best about it was actually getting to meet and interact with the artists, the people that are creating this stuff, that are sitting out there selling it to you, and just seeing everyone, all the smiling faces, and all the cool people, and making all the cool stuff. And then we have like sort of events around the show too, like the Friday night before the show. We do a little meet and greet at Austin Books. That's just very casual, nice little warm up for the show. And then the Saturday night we do a live art show. It's going to be at Shangri-La this year, and that's a benefit for Co-op Radio, another community station here in town. And that's a lot of fun. The artists get up and draw live, and then they donate their work to the station, and the proceeds go all good.
Oh, neat.
Go to benefit the station. So that's always a good time. And then I don't know, just the whole vibe and the atmosphere of everybody getting together and hanging out.
I really enjoy the indie vibe and feel of Staple, because it's one of those things I've always seen the bookmarks for with comic book stores. I'm like, I'm not really into indie comics, but these days I'm starting to meet more artists, and like I'm really starting to appreciate things.
And you learned how to read.
And I learned how to read.
Good for you.
Earlier you said most of your people are local. Do you think there's a high concentration? Because let's face it, Austin is a little weird. We get away with a lot of things. Do you think maybe there's just not giant clumps of indie artists out in other places as much as maybe in Texas?
Well, Austin is certainly a hotbed of it. I think there is. I think also just logistically, the way the city is laid out. I mean, it's an artsy town. There's there's music, there's film, there's everything going on here. So it just attracts artistically inclined people, and then it's the way it's laid out. Like there's a lot. I know a lot of comics artists from say Houston. But the way Houston's just so spread out, it's hard for them to get together and kind of have a scene.
It can literally be a 2 to 3 hour drive just to get across you.
Yeah, so like Austin's small enough, you can get across town in a half hour, even in traffic. But like when I started this, I had met people in the Austin Sketch Group, which is a group of people. They just get together at a coffee shop on Sunday afternoons. They're all artists, and they just hang out and draw. And that's
actually a great thing to mention to people. Like if you need Staple more than once a year, check out the Sketch Group.
Yeah, Sketch Group meets right now at the Buzz Mill on Riverside on Sunday afternoons, starting like 2-3 o'clock. And it's just if you want to meet some people and hang out and draw, that's a fun thing to do. Yeah. And that's, when I was starting, that was a group of people I had met that sort of inspired me to like, yeah, look at what all these cool people are doing, they're making their comics or doing whatever they're doing. And let's promote this.
Awesome. I am super excited by this. Unlike him, a lot of my favorite things are indie comics. I doubt they'll be there, but one of my personal favorites is Phil Foglio, who does Girl Genius. And for years he was giving away pages online and then selling things, which I believe is still his business model.
Cool.
And I love it. I absolutely love that he's able to keep doing what he wants by mostly giving it away for free. And then if you want to support him, you can then buy the bound volume.
Yeah, that's an interesting model with webcomics too, that people have, the content, they're giving it away for free, and then people will, if they like it, they will support it.
Yeah.
And they can exactly go print on demand, or they can put out, a volume of it, and people will actually buy it, even though they've already read it.
Yeah.
Or a lot of them
Sometimes you
also
want to just,
with
like, take a
merchandise
nice hot
as
bath
well.
and just read your way through a trade paperback.
Once again, you're not taking paper into the bathtub. It doesn't make sense to
I
me.
don't put it under the water. My arms are
You're going to
above
splash
the
by
level of
kicking
the
your
Get
little
it wet.
feet or
It's a
blowing
little-
bubbles, and you got a paper and you're ruined. You got to go buy another one.
What do you do when you're
That's
in the
right.
bathtub?
There's bubbles and floats and ducks and monsters and yeah. So, Staple Expo, when is it going to happen this year?
It is March 1st and 2nd.
Oh, that's right around the corner.
Right, coming right up. Some of our guests, we got Francesco Francavilla, who's the creator and artist on Black Beetle, and the artist on Afterlife with Archie, which is a Archie book with zombies in it. It's
I
pretty
heard
cool.
about that one.
Yes.
Our other big guest and a Canadian is Chip Zdarsky.
I like how he says, and a Canadian.
And
You had to
the
explain the
Canadian.
last
Anyway.
name right
You know.
there. It's like,
Yeah. Who's the artist on Sex Criminals, which was a book that came out. Matt Fraction's the writer on that, and that came out in 2013, and it's got named after 3 issues, got named Time Magazine's #1 book of the year, and I've read it, and it's great. We got, for you gamer guys out there, we're gonna have an indie game design panel.
Oh, neat.
With a bunch of local game designers, including Stoic Studios, who put out the Banner Saga. You guys might have heard of that.
oh yeah, we talked about that the other week about the
Yeah.
whole King thing.
Yeah, that, and it's a great looking game too. It's really cool, and their whole. I like their stories. Again, they kickstarted that game. They're trying to get $100,000, and they wound up getting $700,000.
Which is amazing.
So.
Although there are a ton of Austin game Kickstarters, which is really, it warms my heart that Austin's a town where people will look at it and like, yeah, I'll throw $20 at that and see.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's going to come up on their panel because but them and most of the other guys on that panel have kickstarted stuff. So and Kickstarter seems like to be, for gaming certainly a big way of getting direct access to the audience, and and it's great. It kind of really goes along with the ethos of what we do at Staple, is trying to connect the creator directly to the consumer, as without the middleman of a corporation, in the way.
Very awesome. Well, I do believe we're going to be out there on the 1st as well to come say hi to people, and we'll bring some cameras around. So that's the Staple Expo, March 1st and 2nd here in town.
Show up for it. You know you want to.
Website's on the screen, staple-austin.com. Head out there and have lots of fun.